Hey Scorpio, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. I was gonna say funnily lit, but then that sounds like a funnily lit, but it is funnily lit. So overall for the reading, we have Eight of Cups. So seeing something that you would prefer and moving towards it. And it may not even be very clear. It just might be like intuitively, because we have the moon here. So the moon being full, it's like maybe you see something finally, something's more obvious than it's been, some sort of like place you want to go or what you wanted to do. So this might be something you're contemplating. This might be something you're in the middle of. Overall for the reading, it's like dissatisfaction with what we currently have and the possibility or wanting to go seek more. Emerging, I think, from like a place of safety and security and heading out on an adventure. There's a little bit of fool energy here, you know, that like, I have a new idea, but it's also like wanting to complete the set. It's like you want more of what you've already got. So it's not a completely new adventure, but it is a wanting more of what you already have. Emotionally, financially. But there's also like a willingness to like leave behind someplace, leave behind something. Will you search for what you want? There's a message here too. There's some kind of like message maybe that came in that alerted you to the possibility of more. Or, you know, this would be like, yeah, this relationship is great, but could it be better maybe? Or it could also be, this relationship is not what I wanted. I want better. Basically, I think at the end of the day, we're talking about wanting better. Okay, over on Vimeo, there will be love-specific readings if you would like that. And so you're welcome to join me over there. So, past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Ooh, okay. Wow, what are you going to be doing here, Scorpio? In the recent past, we have Queen of Cups. So in this placement, this could be you, sort of where you were, or somebody else. So the queens are very inwardly focused, and this is a Queen of Cups focused on her emotions, focused on her relationships. Here she is journaling a little bit about maybe a relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, right? We have so many relationships in our lives. So it's not always just that one thing, right? It's really interesting how that focus is such a strong focus. There are plenty of cups here, though, so that would indicate sort of relationships and emotional health. So Queen of Cups, really thinking about who you are, what you want, how you feel. Like, do you want to be part of this? Do you want to get revenge on somebody? Like, really, and you know, those emotions, those thornier emotions, those pricklier emotions are very they can be difficult to deal with, but they're best dealt with openly and honestly. You know, if you're jealous of somebody, just admit that and deal with that as yourself, rather than like, oh no, I'm not, but then sabotaging or whatever. So this is just like someone who's been dealing with their own emotions, really focusing in on, how do I feel? Am I satisfied here? Am I happy here? What am I getting out of this situation? Do I want more? So or this relationship, you know, not just more, do I want more? Do I want the other person to give me more? But am I capable of more? Am I capable of more happiness? Am I capable of, there's a bunch of different ways we can do that, rather than like, I want you to give me more. But, you know, are we capable of opening our heart more? Are we capable of, we want more? And that's possibly what you discovered as you were journaling and sort of sorting yourself out and how you feel about a situation. Or you want more, whether it's from this situation or from a different situation. We can't control what other people are willing to put into a relationship. So sometimes, you know, we want to go. But this is also seeing, this Eight of Cups is about seeing something in the future, or seeing something. It's not the Six of Swords, which is like, I'm out of here no matter what. It's like sort of like switching horses midstream in a way, but there's like another horse there. And like Six of Swords or some of our other ones, or the Fool card would be like, oh, maybe there's no horse there, I just want to get off this one. But this one is like, there's something else here, I think this horse is better. It's like switching lines at the grocery store. You realize that the one you're in is going very slowly, so you switch lines. That's this Eight of Cups. In your current situation, you have Nine of Cups. So a lot of emotional fulfillment and happiness, and wanting people to see that. So maybe you've done a lot of work on yourself and you're in a pretty good spot right now. And not only are you in a good spot, but you want other people to know that you're in a good spot. Maybe other people saw you go through a rough patch and you want to be like, I'm fine now, I'm fine, I'm okay. Or, I figured out a bunch of stuff. This could be like, maybe you behaved badly in the past, or maybe you, went through some sort of rough patch and that either came out through whatever means. And now you're feeling a little more stable, a little more secure, emotionally secure, or possibly secure in your relationship. So, and there might be a sense of wanting to either repair things, maybe how people saw you, or maybe because this Nine of Cups, this isn't like, there's a lot about this that's public, about wanting other people to know. So on the one hand, we don't care what other people think. We want to do our own lives. But on the other hand, we do want people to know that we're okay now, we're better now, we have what we need now, and maybe, we've sorted our emotions out and we've come to a pretty good spot. So in your inner landscape, your hopes, your fears, Ten of Wands, you're hoping this is the end of this. Like, yeah, it does look like you've put a lot of work into something, into yourself possibly, or into a relationship, but mostly your side of the relationship. And you're pretty happy with where you've come, where you are at right now with your personal growth. And this is about hoping that there isn't more, hoping that, okay, we can be done with this problem now. I've finished this lesson. I finished this cycle. I can just be done now. I can put this down. You're hoping that you're at the end of the road here, but something that's been hard to carry, that's been a bit of a burden, and like maybe you've sorted yourself, and hoping that, I keep seeing the spiral image here of like, we go round and round these things, right? And you're like, it's always the same thing. Or like, if you struggle with depression at all, some people will come back through and be like, I'm always depressed, just sometimes I'm not, or I'm able to mask it or whatever. I don't know what someone else's, my observations is that that's not true for everybody. People go through cycles, and you hit the depression again, or you hit the this part in the cycle again, and you've grown a lot, you've learned a lot, you've sorted yourself, you figured out a lot, and then you go back and you're feeling good, you're at the top, and then at some point you want to go down. And hopefully we're learning stuff here so that we're creating a spiral and not just a repetitive cycle in a circle. So this is like, maybe even hoping that you're breaking free from a cycle, that you don't have to do another cycle of this, or you don't have to go through this again, the sort of like despair, hope cycle, or the, the contentment, discontentment cycle. And that's a lot of what this Eight of Cups is. Like, we can even imagine him going away to find each of these 8 cups, and he's going around again to find the 2 ones that he's missing, and he'd like some more of cups. He wants the full set of cups. He wants to collect them all, right? And so maybe we've done a few, cycles here that have gotten, I'm literally seeing him go out, and there's like a sense here too of like low-hanging fruit, or like he's collected, these ones were all nearby, right? This one was like on the front porch. This one was a block away. This one was maybe a mile away. This one was 2 miles away, 3 miles away. So we're going out, we're going far afield, collecting some sort of satisfaction, some sort of satisfying experience, and coming back, and then further and coming back. So now these last 2 though are going to be quite a trek, and he's got to pack a bag and head out. They're a lot more distant than these other ones were. So, and this can relate to relationships, whereas like at a certain point early on in the relationship, there's like a lot of easy things to sort of sort through, or, and then at some point in longer term relationships, we get to the part where you know, this is baked on. I compare it to like washing dishes, and how I learned in home ec, which they used to teach us, is that you would do your glasses first because they were not likely to have a lot of grease or gross stuff, and then you would do your plates and bowls, and then your silverware, and then your pots and pans, all in like the one thing of water. So, and at some point stuff gets baked on in those pots and pans. So this is what I'm seeing today as I'm reading this, is that you've maybe like, you know, washed the glasses, found the nearby, the easier to accumulate things, or the easier happiness, and now you're going for something that's actually a little more difficult. You're going to scrub those pots that have been soaking for 24 hours. You've got maybe your tools, you're hopeful that you're going to be able to get some of the harder aspects. And so that can be like with any kind of relationship, there's like easier stuff to deal with, and then we kind of deal with that, sort that out, and then comes like some harder stuff that's more like baked in personality issues that we're either going to have to just accept or move on from, right? And the Gottman Institute talks about that too, as far as relationships, that there are some arguments that couples will never resolve, that they can't resolve, that it's just sort of baked into the way these particular two people come together. And every couple is going to have stuff that's just unresolvable. So instead of being able to, so these 8 cups are reminding me of like, we've worked on stuff that's resolvable here, and now we have sort of some possibly unresolvable, possibly resolvable with a huge amount of work and distance. So apparently that's what I'm seeing here with this 10 of Wands here. Such a simple card, but this 10 of Wands is hoping that you've got it all. You've finished resolving things. You've finished the dishes. There are no new dishes coming up here. That what you've scrubbed. What you've cleaned up, the mess or whatever that was experienced at some point has been cleaned enough, and you're very proud of, ta-da, I did all these dishes, and you're just sitting there like, I hope I did these. I hope there aren't any other dishes. I hope that, you know, I'm done with this task, with this project, with this burden, that we've solved what we can solve here, and there's no more surprises, and this is the end of this argument, the end of the cycle. What's at issue here, though, is Knight of Swords in reverse. Ooh, dear. Well, there's lack of clarity, lack of communication. You know, someone possibly not talking to you, which it can be a relief sometimes if the other person wants to make that choice. It's like, oh, good. Now I don't have to hear you, you know, yell at me anymore. This is not a problem for me. I'm glad you're not talking to me anymore. So that could be like maybe where you're at here is you've gotten to a place that's really good. You're hopeful that this is over, and possibly because the other person isn't talking anymore, or maybe you've made some sort of decision to cut off communication, or to, you know, go no contact for your own, hopefully not as a revenge thing, but as like a self-care and safety thing. So, but this Knight of Swords could be just no communication. Maybe you're in a good spot, but there's some sort of lack of clarity or lack of communication. Someone's not talking, someone's not saying things, someone's not reaching out, someone is not saying something. And like, despite all that, you're in this really good spot. And I like to see that, like, okay, you do you. And maybe you're the one that's like, it doesn't specify here, that's like finally, like, you know, cut someone off, or I'm not participating in this anymore. I want this to be over. So yeah, this Knight of Swords in reverse. Someone's not talking. Someone's keeping quiet about something. They're not, this could be you or somebody else in this position where they're not, somebody's just not going to clarify anything. Yeah. Like, if you're happy and, you know, you've been through this struggle and you're finally at a happy place, you don't maybe need to tell everybody, or you don't need to like go back and clarify stuff. Like, if you want this to be done, this reminds me a little bit of like some kind of breakup where it's just like, you know what, it's just better not for me not to interact with this person anymore. And then in your environment, though, we have the 6 of Coins. This gift, this generosity, this unearned resources, unearned money, unearned gifts. This is in your environment. You haven't, there's no communication, but there is like generosity. This always has like a well-planned generosity. This reminds me of like Giving Tuesday or something like that, you know, at the end of year, for people that are concerned about their tax brackets, end of year giving, which always was strange to me because it's like, well, it's also Christmas, so it must be for tax bracket I'm not familiar with, this end of year giving where you can give both Christmas presents and donate to a lot of different organizations. But that's what this could be. This could be a donation. This could be gifts. We are coming up on holidays, so that would be like very relevant. Unearned though. This isn't like you worked, you know, your 80 hours and you're getting your paycheck. This is like a bonus or an unearned, or I don't want to call bonus unearned because they're more earned than unearned, usually a work bonus. But so a gift in your environment. So this isn't like, this might be for you. If this is anything, it's for you, or it's just maybe you're doing a fundraiser or something like that. And then in your current situation, you have the Tower card here, or not your current situation, excuse me. This is your to-do list, is the Tower. Whoever's been running this show, you like vote them out or you do something. This is, you do the shakeup. So this isn't like, obviously we're not talking about like, go do a shakeup. Any shakeup, it's no problem. Just do a shakeup of some kind. And that's what the tarot told you to do. This is like, there's something coming up here that needs to be disrupted. And you're the cause of disruption. You are the agent of chaos. You are the cause of disruption. You are the lightning that hits the tower. And whoever's been calling the shots, they're done calling the shots. So maybe you're a whistleblower of some kind, or maybe you're just like, you know, you're in this really good spot. So this almost reminds me of like queen bee energy of, no, I'm going to be the queen bee because I can be fair. If there's this other person's going to be the queen bee of the situation, then it's going to be a horrible nightmare for everybody involved. But if you know yourself and you know that you can be fair, and so maybe someone's like giving nepotism or something, like giving out gifts, and you like are like, yeah, okay, I'm in a good place right now, so I'm going to start calling shots. Where before maybe someone else was more in charge of a relationship or a situation, or a work situation or something like that. This is like you, and it's disruptive. It's not just, this isn't the Emperor where you're just taking charge or taking control. This isn't the Chariot where this is like either delivering disrupting news. It's like you found your peace about something. You found your peace about something. And the way you respond to this, like, maybe the gift giving is unfair and this person not talking to you, the way you respond to it really shakes things up. And people might be disturbed by what you're doing. I mean, this could be like going no contact or like setting a boundary or something because you finally realize like your life's going to be much better that way. People might be very upset about it, but it's like the time has come for this. The time has come for some sort of disruption. This could be just moving houses or something, right? Because we have a structure that's not going to function. It's a structural change in your life. And some people might be upset about it because everybody likes things to go same old, be very predictable. I know what this person's doing. I know what that person's doing. So there could be a sense of like a structural change in your life, but the unpredictability feels right too. Like doing something a little differently than you have before, being a little unpredictable, like, because that's what the Tower is. It's like life's going along. We have our patterns. We have our little gallop is going along, and then suddenly now we're going to like jump over a fence here, and it's kind of disruptive to the gallop and the routines and all that, and you're disrupting the routine, but from a place of peace and happiness and like self-confidence, really, with this 9 of Cups here. You're disrupting the routine, not to get revenge, hopefully, but as like a step of self-confidence. Like yeah, a step of self-confidence that somehow is unexpected and disrupts some sort of routine. Possible outcome, the Sun, you're going to be very happy with this, especially if this is about setting boundaries and disrupt, because this Tower card could be you setting boundaries with someone that you've normally let run all over you, but now you're just saying, no, you don't call the shots here anymore, not in my life, you don't, and you're in a really good spot to do that. So this Sun card, the happiest card of the deck, it's also got a lot of clarity. So how someone responds to you sort of creating some disruption, and it could be just you moving, it could be just you like making some sort of decision that, not how things have been done so far, but making some sort of disruptive decision to move, to get a job someplace else, or to just do something very differently, right? It's not always big events. These cards aren't always talking about big events in our lives, but just to do something very differently. So the Sun card comes in with, you're going to be very happy about it, especially if it's like having to do with sort of setting a boundary with someone, or just, with the Knight of Swords in reverse, there's like a lack of communication and a lack of clarity. So this is the clarity that lacks over here, that we're lacking in the situation. This is the clarity. So sometimes, like if this is about setting a better boundary, this could be about how people respond to you setting boundaries tells you exactly why you struggled to set them to begin with, exactly why you, it'll tell you a lot how they respond. And boundaries aren't like trying to force other people to behave a certain way. It's just about what you find acceptable in the ways other people treat you. So, and then we have the possibility also that you're going to be very happy with it, and it'll bring a lot of clarity to the situation. This could be a communication that you have to come through, and you're going to be happy that you said something, even though it's going to be very disruptive, and it's going to disrupt a lot of other people's lives. The Tower isn't an island and isn't in isolation. It's disrupting. It will create ripples. And so the Sun card is sort of you being happy with what you do, happy with the Tower you create, with the Tower you knock down, and and happy with the Tower you knock down, and also like getting a lot of clarity. Once you take a bold action, the clarity comes in after that. So we got a lot of synchronicity cards for your benefit, plus they might add something to her. So Earth, Spirit, Stability. So this, normally we have a fairy that's flying around, but they're seated right now. They're sitting down and grounded. There's also these 2 swans here, and we have these 2 white birds over here. So this could really be about, I was saying maybe not a romantic relationship, but it could be. And, you would know hopefully at this point, and then sometimes these readings aren't about one thing. They like kind of swirl around different ideas. Frog Spirit, renewal. So this can also be about a leap forward somewhere. There's a lot of green here with the Earth Spirit and Frog Spirit. So looking for frogs. We have a little prince here, though. The story, like kissing the frog and turning him into a prince, has a lot of ring of like, I can change him, right? So Earth Spirit, Frog Spirit, renewal. And frogs always talk to me about like, well, renewal. So there's some sort of transformation here, but a leap forward. Oh, and here we have like the fairy over here, a little bit actually showing up, this little green Tinkerbell fairy that's seated, that's grounded, that's stable. And I see this with the emotional stability that you have right here. She shows up in this renewal too. And renewal, again, talking about like those cycles that we go through. And then we have, I like these 2 together. We have toadstools, growth, and aspen forest. So all of these talk about sort of something that's been going on in the background and under the surface. And this looks like it erupts into the surface and into reality, and changes, reality. But this talks to me about everything that goes on beneath the forest floor. all of the life that springs up from the forest floor. That's already all this stuff that's going on down there behind the scenes. And then these toadstools come up out of that mycelium like community down there. And then very similar to that, we have aspen, courage. So toadstools, growth, which looks like renewal to me too, the terms. And then courage too. So out of some sort of stability comes a disruption. So, and then this looks like courage too. This tower is going to require some amount of courage. And so the aspens are basically like all one tree, and they all share a root system, and then the different trees come up like that. So it's about courage and community, and courage with the other people in your life. So it's not just like solo courage, not with aspen spirit. It's not just solo courage, it's courage with a community, other people being courageous around you, and possibly other people helping you. But with the aspen spirit and toadstools and then the tower, it looks like something that's been stewing and brewing for a long time, kind of erupting, you sort of erupting through. I'd say a breakthrough with the tower, breaking through some sort of surface, but it's something that's been simmering for a long time, and it finally like breaks into a full boil or something like that. And then we also have Forest Temple, Enlightenment. So you might be learning something. Well, it's the Sun card here. It's this place of enlightenment where you see something and something's very clear. Like here you just have a hunch with the moon, and here that hunch is proven correct. So Forest Temple, Enlightenment. I also see it with this aspen spirit. We have this, place of refuge in sort of deep forest here. So it might take some courage to see the truth as well. The truth of what's been brewing in the background here. And then we have Standing Stones passage. This also looks like the tower moving through something that seems impossible or immovable. Also like a difficult passage, a rite of passage, something like that. So this tower, I feel like, is supported with courage and this passage, something that you do have to get through. That is not the easiest thing in the world. Of course, the tower might be a breakthrough, but it's not going to be a simple or easy breakthrough. But at the end of it, you're happy and you get a lot of clarity. So let's do the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle. This is by Alana Fairchild. And the Sacred Forest Oracle is by Denise Lynn. Oh, I like this with this. Dream your dreams. Trust that the desires in your heart are placed there lovingly by the universe. You are meant to dream of what you dream. So we have like some wintry energy, thinking of, well, this does seem like an eruption, like all of this like beneath the surface growth too. So all right, so hopefully that was helpful for you. Join me over on Vimeo if you'd like. Ciao.